Hello and welcome to the ninth annual Cubs Social Media Night. I'm Travis Miller, your host and part of the Cubs Social team. Before we get started, we've got to give some shout outs to folks behind the scenes who make the magic happen. Nicole Bersani, manager of Cubs Digital Media, World Series champion. Emma Finkbeiner, social media coordinator extraordinaire. Steve Green, our team photographer. Darren Georgia, our live content creator. Mike Bowling and Matthew Messina, two valued members of the Cubs Social team. Matt Ramito and his incredible Cubs productions team. All those videos that you see on our feeds, he just drops those right into our lap every day, and it's great. Chris Simonson helping us out with our live stream tonight. Kelly King and Aaron Druger, who do so much of our graphic design work. Thank you all. We cannot do any of this without you. Now, the reason all of you are here. It is an absolute honor to introduce and share a screen with Hall of Famer, Cubs legend, Cy Young winner, Fergie Jenkins. Welcome, Fergie.
Thank you. Nice, Travis.
I got a few more accolades I just need to read off. You got Cy Young Award, 3 All-Stars, 3,000 strikeouts, and the first pitcher to achieve 3,000 strikeouts with fewer than 1,000 base on balls. So amazing with all those innings pitched. 4,500?
Yes.
All right. So thank you to all the Cubs fans who submitted questions today on our social channels. We've pulled a bunch of them, and we're gonna get right to it. What do you say, Fergie?
Oh yeah, let's do it.
All right, great. First, coming from John Teagues on Twitter, what team did you root for as a kid?
Well, I was born in Canada, so Detroit was pretty close to the border, like 60 miles from Detroit. I was a Tiger fan growing up as a youngster.
Nice. From Chaplain Chick 93, what is your best memory playing at Wrigley Field?
Well, probably my first time I won 20 games. I was going for my 20th win on my last start against Cincinnati, and I had the opportunity to beat them at a complete ball game and got my first 20-win season.
Awesome. From Babs Carroll, what would your walk-up song be if you were playing today?
Walk-up song, Canadian Sunset.
Very nice. Let's see, from Craig House 3, how has the game changed since you played, and how is it better or worse?
Well, the biggest thing is the pitching aspect, because I always enjoyed pitching and trying to complete a ball game, going out there and possibly throwing 9 innings or maybe even more innings. Now you throw 100 pitches, and if your 100 pitches are done after 5 or 6 innings, your day's done. So that's in some respect that's the way pitching has changed. There was only 9 pitchers on the staff when I broke in with the Phillies, 5 in the bullpen, 4 starters. And now there's 13 or 14 players. Now with the added roster, I think you could have maybe 15 pitchers on the roster. So bullpen is pretty much what the manager looks forward to utilizing late in the game.
How do you think you do with these 7-inning doubleheaders? Complete games on complete games?
Oh yeah, I try to complete go. Sure, 7 innings would be. I'd just get my second win after 5 innings. So that would be fun if I had a chance to do it.
We'll throw you out there for game 2. Why not?
Right.
From Danny Wachowski, he wants to know, who was your favorite player to pitch against? Not because you always succeeded against them, but because they challenged you to be a better pitcher.
Well, when I got to the American League, I knew Reggie Jackson as a youngster, and he was always trying to hit me to the moon. And I'd throw hard in on him and just change speeds. I was very successful against him. And Joe Rudy, who was another good hitter with that Oakland ball club in the 70s. So those 2 individuals, I enjoyed the challenge pitching against them.
From Moose 35 Jen, this is the one that interested me the most. Who on today's Cubs team would you love to play with?
Well, probably Rizzo and Chris Bryant, 2 guys that love to play the game. And when they go out there, the theory is to win. And you can see with their attitude that they don't want to lose. They want to win when they play.
Absolutely. Who was the toughest manager to play for in your playing career?
I had Leo DeRocha for 7 years. I also had Billy Martin 2 years in Texas. And they were just like 2 peas in a pod. They wanted me to pitch. That's all I wanted to do. No excuses. Just go out there and pitch, try to win ball games.
I grew up in New York, not a Yankees fan, but enough to hear the Billy Martin stories over and over and over again.
He was, believe all the stories, believe him. He was tough.
I mean, to lose your job and get it back, I think 5 times. That's impressive, and I think it says something about what he could do there as a manager. Let's see, from DJ WWE fan 85. Oh, nope, sorry, that was the one we just did. From Nick Lazaro, which pitcher today or in the recent past resembles the way you pitched in your prime?
Well, I think changing speeds is something that I was capable of doing after my second or third year in the big leagues. I just think that that's the way to go. And the Cubs got a couple of guys that are capable. Right now, I think if John Lester would give that a try, changing speeds, a little older, he knows how to pitch, I think he'd have a little more success.
We'll see what happens tonight. I'm hoping for, I'm hoping for another no-hitter tonight. I'd take that.
Yeah, Mills, what did he do, like 4 or 5 days ago?
Yeah, just on Sunday. That ended up being a nice long day for us, but it was great.
I got close 5 times.
5 times.
Yeah, I went 7 2/3 against Baltimore. John Lowenstein got the hit in the 7 2/3.
What's the feeling, the sensation? Is it are you upset? Are you relieved? What happens there? Does everything the momentum, does that leave you, or is it just let's get the next out?
Well, yeah, the momentum never swings because of the fact that yourself you haven't given up a hit. There's no base runners. You didn't walk anybody. You're looking to have the defense really play really tight the last couple of innings. So you're looking around, trying to position people. And the number one thing, you'd like to survive with ground balls. You don't need any fly balls. But it's just one of those things. Balls get through the infield, that's a base hit. But I think in theory, you're always thinking, that's the number one pitch I got to throw to get this hitter out.
Ground balls, another good reason to have Mr. Rizzo out there. He can pick them with the best. See, if you had to select one of your pitches as your go-to with the game on the line, what pitch would that be?
I had a pretty good slider later on in my career. I think after the second or third year with the Cubs, I challenged guys a lot of times with the fastball, but to get someone out, I had a pretty good slider.
Who was the most underrated teammate in the clubhouse during your time with the Cubs?
Wow, underrated. Don Kessinger, when he came on, he was a right-handed hitter. And Pete Reeser took him out early in spring training of 67 and got him to switch hit with a U1. And I think he really turned his career around. So Don Kessinger probably learning how to switch hit in the big leagues was probably really underrated.
Now we've got the DH in the NL this year. I'm an NL diehard. I'm a purist, but again with the deep Cubs lineup, I don't mind it this year. When you got Schwarber, Willie, or Vic at DH every day, that's nice. But in your day, you had 13 career home runs, and there were some memorable names on that list. Which was the one that was most memorable to you?
Well, the first one I hit was off Don Sutton in Wrigley Field. It was my first relief appearance as a Chicago Cub, my first at bat. And Don Sutton hung a fastball, as you call it, and I was able to put a pretty good swing on it and hit a home run.
Where did it go?
Left center field. Very
nice. Did you get the ball back?
Into the bleachers. No, never got it. I asked, but never got it back. And a couple of them. I hit one off, I think it was Billy Champion. I was able to get that ball. I think one off Johnson with Pittsburgh. I was able to get a home run ball back.
I think we got some bleacher diehards who were watching who would argue that, hey, that's a gamer. It's their ball.
Definitely, yeah.
Sorry, Mr. Jenkins. Maybe your next one will come back to you.
Yeah.
All right. Next question is from Jackie Rogers. How would your pitching style work in today's game?
Well, I was a pitcher that got ahead of the hitters, so I challenged guys. I went right after them right from the first inning until the last inning I pitched. So it either was a fastball, slider, and I had a decent changeup. So I was able to change speeds, but I challenged the hitter, make him hit the ball because I had a good infield. At Ernie at first, Becker, Kessinger, and Sano. Those guys really played hard for me, and they were great fielders.
Speaking of Ron Santo, what's one of your favorite Ron Santo's memories, if you don't mind sharing?
Well, when he started clicking his heels after games we won in 1969, and Leo was the individual that got Ronnie to do it. And I think Ronnie enjoyed doing it after, especially after home wins. And we had a lot of home wins because we stayed in first place like 5 months. So he was clicking his heels quite a bit.
All right, now from our friends in Myrtle Beach from Pelican Baseball. Who is your favorite Cubs affiliate in the state of South Carolina? There's a lot to choose from here.
Wow. I don't know how many affiliates are there. Well, I've been in the Myrtle Beach Pelicans. I've been at that ballpark, a pretty nice stadium. You know, minor league stadiums are incredible now. When I played, we had rocks in our infield, bad grass, and chain link fence. So these stadiums now are pretty nice.
It builds character when you take a bad hop off of a rock, right?
Definitely, yes.
From our friend Brett Hughes on Facebook. Okay, we're going to get into it. Which side of the Budweiser bleachers do you think is better to sit, left field or right field? We're going to start this debate.
Oh, the left field bleachers is the ideal place. I mean, that's how the bleacher bump started with I think Ron Grazo was one of the first individuals, Mike Murphy, Ray Meyer, let me think, a couple other guys that I knew that were out there. And they started with the yellow helmets, work helmets.
All right. Now we talked about some guys who you had success against in the box. Now, who were some of the pitchers who you had to walk in there and step in the box and they're throwing 100 at you and you didn't hit home runs off of? Who were some of those guys you didn't like facing?
Well, Drysdale was tough because he threw sidearm. Steve Carlton had a great slider in on right-hand hitters. Juan Marichal, and by far Bob Gibson. I mean, Bob Gibson didn't like anybody. I don't think he liked his teammates. But opposing pitchers, he was tough. He was tough to try to hit or try to bunt off.
What was your favorite rivalry as a Cub? Was it Cubs Cards?
Well, by far, I think the rivalry was either the Mets or the St. Louis Cardinals because they were in our division, and it seemed like they were always right close to us on our heels, so we really had to play well against them to keep our standings going.
Mm-hmm. What do you think? What are your thoughts on the team this year?
I think the ball club's playing pretty good. I know they got out of the box really quick. I think they're still in first place. I think they're 3.5, 4 games in front of the Cardinals and Milwaukee. I think if they can continue having good pitching, like Lou Darvish has really surprised people. A couple of years ago, when I talked to him, and he speaks perfect English by far. He doesn't need a translator. He was short arming the ball because of the fact that I think with Tommy John, it takes you a year or so to come back. And I think with him, it's almost 2 years to come back. But he's really throwing the ball well now. So, I think the pitching staff, when you surround them with Lester and Darvish and a few other players, I think that they've got a pitching staff that should be able to survive and should win that division.
Well, what would you do if you had 11 pitches in your arsenal?
11?
I
was lucky enough to have 4, and I was able to have pretty good control. I don't know, Darvish, they say he has 11 pitches. That's a lot of pitches. I was very successful with 4.
What would your catcher have thought if you're like, all right, I've got 11 pitches?
You don't have enough fingers on one hand. Randy Hundley always complained when I used to shake him off. He put a side down, I'd shake him off, just to make the hitter think a little bit. So Randy was he put down 4 or 5 fingers, that's enough.
While we're reminiscing about some of the Cubs greats, can we touch on Ernie Banks?
Yeah, I run with Ernie the last 3 years he played. What a gentleman. Always talked about the game of baseball. Loved to put that uniform on and run out of that old dugout, cross the infield and take ground balls at first base. He had a good glove. He was a good first baseman, and he loved to hit. I was very fortunate to be at the ballpark when he hit his 500, and then he hit his 512th. So, you run out to the home plate and you want to congratulate him, believe me, that's quite an achievement.
Is he one of those players where the ball would just sound different off his bat?
He had a great swing. He was a line drive hitter. He didn't hit home runs 450 feet. If they went 380, maybe 400, that was a home run. But he was a line drive hitter.
We've got a question here from Julie Fluno on Facebook. Who should be in the Hall of Fame who currently is not in the Hall of Fame?
Oh, there's quite a few guys. By far, Roger Maris belongs in the Hall of Fame. Tommy John, Mickey Lolich, Jim Cott, Bert Campaneris. Bert Campaneris' stats are better than Louis Aparicio's, and he just can't get the votes. And Dick Allen. Dick Allen's another one. Tony Oliva. I could name about 20 individuals. I run with Dick Allen with the Phillies. So Dick was a great ball player, great hitter, great base runner, knew the game, loved to play.
From Michael Jones on Facebook, what is the best part of being in the Cubs family?
When I got traded here to the Cubs, you don't know what to expect. New team. I'm 21, 22 years old. Ernie was a guy that took me aside along with Leo and Ron Santo and Billy Williams. I just think that making you feel comfortable, knowing that you're part of that ball club and that team, and they want to win. Because when I joined the team, they were in last place. They've been in last place a lot. And we really didn't start to win until 67, 68. Kenny Holson was a heck of a pitcher, Bill Hands, Rich Nye. So I think the young pitching staff really turned that ball club around. So I was one of those individuals that really enjoyed pitching in Wrigley and winning ball games.
Yeah, you put off a nice little string of 20-win seasons there.
Right.
From John on Facebook, were you able to get up north fishing this year?
I haven't been up north yet. No, not yet. I've fished a little bit here in the Texas area. I'm hoping that before long, I'll be able to get that bass boat, put it in the water, probably sometime in maybe October, November, and maybe get a chance to fish in Michigan or maybe even Wisconsin for muskies.
All right. Let's see. When's the last time you were back at Wrigley? Okay. Let's ask this. Singing the stretch or throwing out the first pitch? Which would you rather do?
Singing the seventh inning stretch is a lot of fun. I did it a couple of times last year. Throwing out the first pitch is something that it's kind of an honor to go out there and stand on the mound again. It looks further away, believe me. When you get older, your arm isn't as strong. And the number one thing they tell you, don't bounce it. I already know that, don't bounce. So you try to loft it so that the catcher has an opportunity to catch it. But it's always good to get back.
Yeah. I imagine the view is much different when you get up there to the press box and you're looking out over 40,000 people as opposed to standing on the mound.
Oh, yeah, you become a critic after a while. I would have threw that pitch, that type of thing. But it's good to still be part of the ball club and being an opportunity to sit in one of the suites and watch the game. These young men are fantastic athletes. They all can play. And I think it's a great credit to the organization that they're in first place right now.
Do you enjoy watching Javi play?
Oh, definitely. The number one thing is, I gave him a nickname. I call him Flash.
Flash.
I call him Flash. He's quick. But I think he hit a home run the other night, which he's just starting to, I think, swing the bat a little better. Batting averages have been really low because it's tough to come back sitting around for 2.5 months. And then you got 3 weeks to try to get your act together. And that's why I think a lot of the batting averages are really down across baseball.
Mm-hmm. And strikeouts up. Oh, you'd be thriving.
Pitchers are taking advantage of that for sure. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, Javi just had a couple moments. He hit the 450-footer, and then he scored from first on a strikeout, naturally, as El Mago would do. And on Sunday, overshadowed by the Alec Mills no-hitter, he scored from second base on a sac fly to left field.
Yeah, I mean, he knows how to play. I mean, he's got great instincts, and he displays it. And a lot of people say, they look at him and they go, how do you do that? Because he's a great athlete.
Did you have a second favorite sport to play?
I grew up in Canada, and my hockey was the number one sport. I played quite a bit of hockey, and I stopped playing at 17 when the Phillies and a few other ball clubs were looking at me as a pitcher. And I didn't think I was that good a pitcher, but the Phillies signed me when I graduated out of high school. Played a couple years in the minor leagues, Miami, Chattanooga, and Little Rock, and got to the big leagues. Signed in 62, got the big leagues in 65. So consider myself pretty lucky.
We touched on the 20-win seasons, the Cy Young Award. Is there one of those seasons where you felt it was far and away your most dominant season as a pitcher?
Well, in 1968, I hate to bring it up, I got shut out 9 times that year. Out of my 11 losses, 5 times 1-0. And I just know these stats because you hate to bring it up all the time. But 5 times 1-0, I lost. So I had a chance maybe to win more than 20 games. So if we just scored some more runs. So winning is so very important. The guys really played hard behind me. I'm very fortunate.
So when you see Jacob deGrom winning a Cy Young with 11 wins, you're like, yes, sir.
Well, the tabulation now and the first place votes are totally different. He won a couple of ERA championships, and I think that's great. If you have a low ERA, that means that you're keeping your team in the game. But you do try to win ball games. And 11 wins is really unfortunate. He just didn't win more. But to win a Cy Young, that's a great honor.
Mm-hmm. I think he had a few of those 1-0s in there. We know those all too well. How's your foundation doing?
Very good. Well, we haven't done much because of the fact of the pandemic. Canada has been locked down. It's really unfortunate they haven't done much. We still got our foundation there in St. Catharines. We had board meetings, which I haven't had a chance to attend. Because if I was fly to Canada, I'd be quarantined for 14 days. Couldn't do much. So the people that are there, our board members, are still holding their own and talking about what we have to do when this is done, maybe in 21. So I'm hoping that before long, I'll get a chance to get back to Canada.
And we added a couple new faces to the family during quarantine, right? Got some new pups?
I got 2 puppies. Well, they're 6 months old now. I have a black lab. Her name's Cassie, and I've got a German Rottweiler lady. Rottweiler now is 65 pounds, and the lab is 53. And they're growing. They're growing, and they got a mind of their own. Boy, they're tough to train too. And you try to be gentle enough to try to discipline them, to get them to sit, heel, and stay. And they are just they're a handful.
That's great. But nothing beats having some dogs. They're always happy to see you when you walk in the door.
Definitely, they love you regardless of any kind of things going on during the day. And if you don't feed them, they're waiting. And as soon as you come up with a doggy bone, man, you're their best friend.
Oh yeah, 3:30 every day. Dinner time is until 5, but mine, he's like, 3:30, let's go.
Yeah.
It's time to eat.
Yeah, my dogs are up at 7:30 every morning, and they're barking in their kennel, and they want to go out, get on the grass, and you got to feed them.
All right, we've got another question from Twitter here. Who do you think is a better golfer between Anthony Rizzo and Chris Bryant?
Oh, I've never seen him play, but let's go with Anthony Rizzo. I think being left-handed, he probably hits that ball pretty good. He's 6'5", 230. He probably packs a pretty good punch.
He puts it on his Instagram stories sometimes. They are not 280-yard drives. No. They go a little further than that.
Oh yeah, you got to hit it big. That's it. Well,
go ahead.
Bryant, he's from Vegas, so he probably had a chance to play a lot more because Vegas is great conditions. Plus the air is light, like Arizona, and the ball travels, pretty good. So he's probably a pretty good golfer also. But the biggest thing is you got to be able to putt. Putting is so important.
That's where I give all my strokes back. What was it like pitching to Pete Rose?
Pete was an individual that challenged you all the time. He might take a pitch every so often at bat, but he put the ball in play. An individual got over 4,000 hits. He was hitting everybody, myself included.
We're from Jonathan on Twitter. Were there any teammates throughout your career who taught you something important that stuck with you the entire time, maybe beyond your career?
Well, Glenn Beckert was my best man at my wedding in Oklahoma. Glenn was a contact hitter, and Billy Williams showed me a good stroke. Glenn Beckert would always say, "Put the ball in play, put it in play, don't strike out," and that's what I tried not to do, is strike out.
Very nice. Sweet swinging Billy Williams. We haven't. Well, that's our first mention of him. How was it playing with him?
Billy and I were really close friends. We did a lot of fishing and hunting together. Billy had Weimaraners. They call them the gray ghost. And I had short hairs back then. And we used to hunt quite a bit in the off season around, I'm trying to think of the city where we used to hunt a lot. We had Cessna Park and Kankakee, which a lot of farmers would contact us and say, we heard you like to hunt. I've got a farm. Come on out. I know we got pheasants, so I hear them, but we don't see them. And then we'd hunt the fence lines, and we might kill 3 or 4 cockbirds a day.
Who hit the ball hardest off of you? Oh, another tough question.
Tony Perez. Tony Perez. 2 of the guys I didn't like to face was McCovey and Clemente, but I think Tony Perez probably got more hits against me.
Very nice. Let's see. Do you have any message that you'd like to say to the Cubs fans while we've got everyone here?
Well, it's really unfortunate they can't get to the ballpark. I really feel bad that the way the Cubs are playing. Fans would love to see some of these young men play. Bodie, as you said, Baez. I just think that they're really playing well. You know, Wilson Contreras, what a catcher he is. And I just think that it's really unfortunate fans really haven't had that opportunity to see these young men play this year. Let's hope before long in 2021 they'll be back out there and have fans in the ballpark again.
Absolutely. That energy at Wrigley when the place is full, there's nothing like it. But it's been nice to see the guys creating their own energy. That has been nice.
Yeah, it's tough to play without fans. I mean, you got to motivate yourself. A lot of times you get motivated because the fans cheer for you. And right now they got to motivate each other.
It's interesting. Do you think there's something to that? We're seeing, I mean, we luckily haven't been a part of it, but we're seeing a lot of those lopsided games where it ends up like 19-0. There was a 29-9. Do you think that has something to do with the atmosphere?
Well, sometimes it's because of the pitching, because a lot of times you might get 3 or 4 guys that are really excellent pitchers on a staff, and then you get to the bullpen, and the bullpen has an opportunity not to pitch enough, and the pitches are up in the strike zone, and the hitters, regardless, you could be a bad hitter, but they're going to put that ball in play, and the home runs have come on a rapid pace. So I just think that that's the reason why you have to get to their bullpen, regardless of 7 or 9 innings. You're giving up lots of hits, lots of runs.
Yeah. All right, Fergie. We appreciate you so much taking this time. And been an honor, a career accolade for me, even to get to speak to you, let alone interview you and spend a half hour with you. So on behalf of Cubs fans, anyone who's watching, thank you.
All right. Thanks, Travis. Enjoy it.
Thanks, Fergie.
All right.